about history. They're facts of history, indisputable facts of history. For instance, if Jesus had followers who were first century Muslims, they didn't last very long. Why? Because we had no record of them. If there was a gospel that matches what Islam teaches, it must have been corrupted or disappeared. Why? Because we don't have any. It's a simple fact of history. We don't have any book that matches that. So everything I've said so far is a fact about Islamic teachings and facts of history. And what we'll see throughout this program, as Muslims are free to challenge and so on, this raises a number of problems. Would you like to look at some of those?
Yes, just 1 minute. Thank you, David. I just want to remind our viewers who are just joining us, today's 2:30 show is a trial run that we'd like to implement, hopefully in the near future, to have consistent weekly shows in the afternoon for our international audience. So if you are watching the show right now internationally and you enjoy watching the show and you want it to continue at this time, give us a call and give us your feedback so that we can implement your ideas and thoughts into our decision-making process. And there is a question that I want to ask the Muslim viewers, and maybe you can comment on it, and then we will start taking their calls. For our Muslim viewers, assuming that the Muslim view is correct, what happened to Jesus' Muslim followers? That's a question that has been posed to Muslims that has gone unanswered. So if you'd like to call and give us an answer, call us in the studio. We're live at 248-416-1300. Would you like to comment on that real quick before we take our call?
Yes. This is just a massive problem. Look, consider the facts that we've gone over. One, according to Islam, Jesus had first century Muslim followers. We have no record of these Muslim followers ever existing, so something must have changed and corrupted their belief. Well, what could have corrupted their belief? What did these Christians come to believe? That Jesus died on the cross for them. Where did they get the idea that Jesus died on the cross? From Allah. So think about this. The belief of these first century Muslims must have been corrupted. Who corrupted their belief? It must have been Allah. Now think about this, my friends, because this really it baffles me. It boggles my mind how any of you Muslims could believe this. Follow me now. Jesus had first century followers. So Jesus comes, he preaches, and people submit to his message. They say, yes, we're willing to believe what you say, Jesus. These are people who are willing to believe that Jesus is a prophet, and they're willing to believe in what he says. And then immediately, Allah tricks and deceives them into believing that Jesus died on the cross. This corrupts their belief, and they go on to become Christians who commit shirk. Do you believe this? Do you believe that Allah will deceive even people who follow his prophets? You have to believe that if you're a Muslim. You have to believe that Jesus had Muslim followers, and that the beliefs of these Muslim followers was corrupted by who? By Allah, who tricked and deceived them into believing that Jesus died on the cross. So Allah corrupted the message of Jesus until it became Christianity. So according to Islam, Christianity was started, at least in part, by the deception of Allah. So here we are 2,000 years later. I believe Jesus died on the cross. Why do I believe that Jesus died on the cross? Why am I a Christian? If Islam is true, I believe it because Allah tricked people back in the first century, and Allah must have known that this was going to become the largest religion in the world. And so Allah started the largest religion in the world by deceiving people. You Muslims, why would Allah do that? Please let us know why Allah tricked and deceived literally billions of people into believing that Jesus died on the cross. I'd like to know.
Okay, second question I want to pose to the Muslims. Why would God lead Jesus' followers astray, even indirectly, and destroy everything Jesus had worked so hard to accomplish? Before you comment on that, I want to hear your thoughts. I also want to remind our viewers that we want your help to spread these programs to American networks. So we have a DVD that we want to send you. It's a 60-minute rapid-fire DVD that will help you introduce Jesus or Muhammad Show to American networks. Email us to email us to jesusormuhammad@abnsat.com, and we will mail you all the information that you need. But we need your help in spreading the word about the program. What do you think about that second question?
Why would Allah lead Jesus' followers astray, even though Jesus had spent his entire life? Remember that Jesus starts preaching at birth, according to Islam. So Jesus preaches for 30 or 33 years or so, wins followers to Islam, performs all kinds of miracles to confirm his message. And when people believe in it, Allah comes in immediately and tricks everyone into believing in false beliefs. And then, of course, they become Christians and they commit shirk. Why? Why, in the name of common sense, would Allah say, Think about this. This is what Allah has to say. Allah knows the future. Allah knows what's going to happen. According to Islam, Allah says something like this: I'm going to send Jesus, one of the greatest messengers of all time. I'm going to send him, and he's going to preach, and he's going to win followers, and he's going to live the most miraculous life in history, even according to Islam. He's going to be born of a virgin. He's going to speak during birth. He's going to raise the dead. He's going to cure the lepers. He's going to cure the blind and the deaf. And after he convinces people, I'm immediately going to go and destroy everything he's worked for, convince people that he died on the cross. And Allah, of course, knows that this belief is ultimately going to lead to Christianity, which, according to Islam, is the world's largest false religion. So why? Why does Allah say that he's going to send Jesus to accomplish some work and then immediately destroy everything that Jesus had worked for? Why? Why would Allah? In other words, if Allah tricked everyone into believing Jesus died on the cross, what was the purpose? What good came out of it? Because the only thing that came out of it was Christianity, and according to Muslims, Christianity is a false, corrupt religion. Who corrupted it? Allah. Please explain this to us. Why would Allah send Jesus and then immediately corrupt Jesus' message? I'd like to know.
That's a good question. Why? We are not getting Muslim callers call in. Maybe they don't know why, or maybe they are too...
There is no answer. They're just stuck with this.
Well, I would like to hear a Muslim call in and maybe enlighten us during this show. So make sure that you call in, 248-416-1300. We have about 30 other questions that we'll just continue to go through until you call us at the studio live and try to prove David wrong. The whole point is to try to reach to the truth and figure out what the truth is. So our next question is this: why did Allah tell his followers would be superior until the day of resurrection? Let me read that again. Why did Allah tell Jesus that his followers would be superior until the day of resurrection? Do you know the answer to that question? Call us live in the studio, 248-416-1300. David.
Yeah, this is another massive problem, because remember, we don't have any record of Jesus' followers ever being Muslims, anyone for the first several centuries of Christianity being Muslims or having Muslim beliefs and practices. So why? Remember, Allah knows the future, and Allah knows when he's talking to Jesus that he's about to corrupt Jesus' message and distort it and trick people into believing that Jesus died on the cross. Allah knows this. He knows he's about to deceive people and that this is going to start Christianity. So why would Allah lie to Jesus' followers and say, these followers of yours, they're going to be victorious and superior until the day of resurrection, when he actually knows that Jesus is going to die, Allah is going to trick them, the Apostle Paul is going to come in and trick them even more, and that their beliefs are going to be completely corrupted, and they're going to believe in a false message and commit shirk. Why would Allah lie? It has to be a lie. It has to be a lie according to Islam, because Allah is telling Jesus' followers, is telling Jesus that his followers are going to be victorious. Until, not for 5 years, not for 10 years, until the day of resurrection. That's a long time. Jesus' followers are going to be victorious. And Allah tells Jesus, your followers are going to be victorious until then, until resurrection day. And yet Allah, if he knows the future, knows that he's about to come in, trick and deceive Jesus' followers into believing that Jesus died on the cross, and that the Apostle Paul is going to come in there and completely distort Christianity, and that a corrupted version of Christianity is ultimately going to take over the Roman Empire. Allah knows this. And so if he's telling Jesus that his followers are going to be superior until the day of resurrection, he must be lying to Jesus. Please tell us why Allah is lying to one of his greatest prophets. We'd like to know.
And with that, I want to remind you that tonight at 9:45 p.m. we have former PLO terrorist Walid Shoebat will be live in the studio with both Pastor Joseph and David. He'll also be running a special Arabic live show at midnight tonight with Dr. Bassem, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. And we will also be airing Jesus Muhammad again Sunday, tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. and 9:45 p.m. So make sure that you join us for that. Let's just go on to our next question until Muslims start to call us. David, if the Injil was given to a man as guidance, why didn't Allah preserve his message rather than help start a heresy? Why do you think Muslims can't answer that question?
Well, because they can't answer it, because there's just no answer. No matter how they answer this question, Islam turns out to be false. So if the Injil was given as a guidance, why didn't Allah preserve this message instead of changing it into a heresy? So think about what we're asking here. According to the Quran, Surah 3:3, Allah